How many of you hear about no available jobs? So we don't know what to do. There aren't any jobs available in the community. We live in a very rural community. This is a common barrier, right? No available jobs. There's so many people unemployed. So the two solutions that I suggest that you, instead of focusing on no available jobs and we can't do it, so let's turn it on its head and say what's possible. I say let's tap the hidden job market and consider self-employment. So how do we tap the hidden job market? Here's the relationship part, okay? So we had the map that Cindy helped us do, the asset map, the last time. Recognize those three circles, right? So what if we were to put names to those groups and people, or groups and places that we wrote down on that map? If we started putting names in those three quadrants, okay? That way we would start to see who we're connected with, actual people, right? And let's think about Mitch. Mitch is a 17-year-old guy who is very social and is looking for his first job. He's not sure what he wants to do, but he knows that he likes books, people, animals, and making food at home with his family. He is active and wants to live a healthy lifestyle. Mitch wrote down some names with his team about who he knew. And so here's just a basic list, about 15 names of people. And then we list their place of employment. We have people who work at Sears. We have people who work at restaurants, a bus company, an HVAC company, yoga instructors. We have all kinds of people. And then we have also listed their interests and their community involvement. Okay, so we take an inventory here. And as we look at this, we can see that there are a number of people that we could connect Mitch to explore workplaces, to learn about what employers are looking for, to have informational interviews, to have job shadows, to possibly ask about job potential possibilities, right, or work experiences. We also see that there are ways that we could connect him to doing more things in the community that he enjoys on the weekends and in the evenings, so that he can further expand his network of people that he knows, because it is through who we know more often that we find our jobs. So if more people know Mitch and he's involved more and contributing more to his community, and he's letting people know that he's looking for his very first job, you could probably bet that some of these people would say, hey, guess what? They'd start looking out for Mitch, and they would start finding out if there was something out there for Mitch, because they'd get to know him and they'd be his ally that way in his job search. So there are two ways that people work in the community. There are getting a job, working for someone else, and then there's creating your own opportunity through self-employment. Okay. Now, some people may be thinking, when it comes to people with significant disabilities, is self-employment really a possibility? Absolutely. So about 10 years ago, I worked in Dane County to launch a pilot project with DVR and the Dane County Human Services to help people who did not fit the mold of traditional employment, help them develop micro-enterprises and supported self-employment opportunities. And we were very successful. And did it take a village? Yes. Sometimes it did. Cindy's laughing because she was involved with me on that. Yes, a couple of villages. Yes, but it works. It doesn't work for everybody, but it works. It's a way to help people, develop their own employment opportunities. And in many parts of Wisconsin, self-employment is a way of life. In rural communities, it is almost the only way that people can generate income. There are towns in northern Wisconsin where more than half of the people are self-employed. Okay? So starting a small business might be the way to go. And there are different approaches to self-employment planning, just like there are different approaches to finding a job. And we know that there are certain approaches that work better for people with more significant disabilities. We know that customized employment is a good practice. Tapping the hidden job market is a good practice when it comes to helping people with significant disabilities connect to the workplace. And same with self-employment planning. We know that a more customized approach to self-employment planning is the way to do that, a more of a micro-enterprise approach that focuses on the person and their skills and strengths and interests rather than market-driven opportunities. It is possible to create niche businesses around people based on what they love to do and what they're good at. So this Venn diagram I offer up as a tool to get teams thinking, as a brainstorming technique. I often take it into meetings when I'm meeting with a team for a very first time who has allowed me to come in. Sure, why not? Yeah, I guess we can think about employment. You know what I mean? Like, let's see if she has the answer. You know what I mean? And I'll say, okay, well, let's think about themes instead of jobs, because we all have limited notions about what jobs exist in our communities. Okay, it's based on what we've done or what our family members have done. So we have maybe 20 job descriptions in our heads that we can kind of call up and say, can you do this, 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 this? Nope, 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 right? Well, we got to pull ourselves out of that thinking. And we have to start thinking about themes, not jobs. Okay, so going back to that interests, personal attributes, and environment. So I offer these things up. They all follow the same theme. Are you starting to get it? They're just different tools and different ways of looking at it or, considering it. So this Venn diagram, you can have a brainstorm with a team about, okay, what are some of the skills, education experiences, because that's where we generally first start to think, right? Then we start thinking about personality, environments, and people that the person likes to be around, okay, or within, and their own personality. Then their dreams and their talents and their interests. And if we write these down visually, I can tell you that team members will start to say, what about that? What about that? And it gets us out of the box of these typical jobs. Let me just give you an example about a woman who liked arts and crafts, okay? And so we just decided, after having some initial discussions, we decided pottery, because that's what she really loved. So let's look at some sort of vocational future in pottery. Simple as that. Okay, we got our hat, thing to hang our hat on. Okay, we're going to start the exploration process. So we had some conversations with the team about the community and about her and what she'd like to do and what the possibilities are, and then we mapped out a 3-month plan. So what our plan was, she was going to visit local arts and crafts shops in the area. Staff would spend time observing her and doing some of this, ideal conditions and skills inventory, and then talk to her about her likes and dislikes. They would spend some time looking on the internet at pottery businesses. The internet is a great place just to start, I never thought about that, or what do you think about this, that kind of thing. They were going to visit the local farmers markets, craft sales, and start having conversations with the craft vendors. And, so how do you make your stuff? What's it like to sell here? How much do you sell? The pros and cons of it all. And then they were going to have her visit a local pottery studio and have an informational interview with the owner there, who was also a potter. And then start taking some community classes. There's got to be some pottery classes around, right? Because this was something she had done years ago, and she loved it and wanted to do it more. So does this mean that she would pursue pottery as a vocation? Maybe not. Would she start a business? Maybe not. Okay. Maybe. But we're exploring. We're having experiences. We're helping her understand herself, and we're understanding her so we can support her better. Okay. but we have gotten off of the can't do it, not sure what to do, and getting into the action of exploring. So overcoming fear of losing benefits, that's a big barrier, right? It's a huge barrier. So what I say is that everyone who is engaged in employment planning should be connected to a work incentive benefits specialist. There are work incentive benefits specialists all over the state of Wisconsin, and you can find one by going to the website that's on the slide here. And don't worry about writing that down. All of these resources will be up online. But a work incentive benefits specialist will help someone who receives SSI or SSDI understand how to work and keep the benefits they need. Because there are lots of provisions in place that help people keep the benefits they need while they're working. Okay? Some of them are student earned income exclusion. This is a provision that allows an SSI recipient who is between the age of 18 and 22 and in an educational or transition program, okay, to earn, let's see, what is it, $1,730 a month on up to a yearly maximum of $6,960 before those earnings affect the SSI check. So that's just one of the provisions. There are also others, like 1619B, which is a way to, once you zero out your check, SSI check from earnings, and you're worried about your Medicaid, well, you automatically go on something called 1619B, even if you zero out your SSI check from earnings. And you can stay on 1619B until you get your Medicaid until you make like $32,000 a year. So you don't have to write all that down and remember it. What you have to do is remember to work with a work incentive benefits specialist. Overcoming transportation barriers. Now there are options, okay? And I know it gets harder and harder in our rural communities, but people can learn how to ride the bus in places that have a bus system. Many communities have reduced fare taxi cabs in the community. I know my community has one. It's like $1.50 a ride, okay? There's also a ride share through the Department of Transportation website where they connect people who are looking for a ride and people who are willing to give rides. Okay, so you can go to, if you Google Wisconsin Ride Share, DOT, it'll come up and you can register to either give rides or get a ride. There's rides from others. So carpooling is pretty common. There are also ways to get a driver's license, whether you have a physical disability or a developmental disability. I know lots of people who drive. And then there are the specialized transportation arrangements. Okay. So I say, look into all of those and see what's possible. Support barriers. Now, we all rely on natural supports, and so no matter what level of support you feel that the student needs or your son or daughter needs, don't get in the way of those natural supports. Try to cultivate them as much as possible. There are also assistive technology devices, the low-tech and high-tech that people can use to be supported on the job. There's some really creative assistive technology solutions out there. Okay, and I've seen schools doing a really great job, helping students master iPod touches and iPads in order to pull up a video that shows them how to do something, to perform a work task or reminders, and then, then they can go about doing that instead of having the physical presence of a job coach. Also, there's an option of having workplace personal assistance with family care, if you're a family care member, and IRIS. And this is a different kind of support than job coaching. Job coaching is a specialized support designed to teach people job skills, whereas workplace personal assistance is more of the safety and supervision kind of supports related to disability. And then there's also a way to get really creative using self-directed support. And both Family Care and IRIS offer, self-directed support options to hire independent employment supports or co-workers even to provide those supports. So there's options there. And then overcoming education and training barriers. Did you know that there's a movement afoot to help open the doors of post-secondary education institutions for people with developmental disabilities? I see some people here clapping at that. It's called Think College. So if you have not heard of that, Google Think College Wisconsin, and it'll be in the resources too. And take a look at what's going on, because it's really exciting stuff. Also, meet with the career services and disability resource services staff at the technical colleges and universities. If you feel that you need some post-secondary education training, meet with them, because they can help you understand what's possible. So they can work on accommodations and other things. A resource that I did want to clue you into was they're called self-directed employment planning modules. Okay, and this is on the In Control Wisconsin website. It's a series of recorded modules, that about 10 of them, that a person can take, whether it be a student or a family member helping a student or an adult, and or anyone who is engaged in employment planning, can take these modules. They're free, self-paced, and it comes with a workbook and a resource guide, and it will help a person develop an employment plan. But then they can take to school, or their DVR counselor, or their long-term care staff, and work with them on implementing that plan.